Hey guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Game Nation. I am, of course, your host, Brian Bonardi, and with me, as always, is, of course...
Batman.
No, not Batman, Russ Pierce.
Oh,
Jesus.
okay, fine.
Jeez, man. When did you start becoming Batman?
I've always been Batman.
I thought that was Bruce Wayne.
No, I'm going to... think about this for a second. Okay, I'm not going to say that I'm Batman, but have you ever seen me and Batman in the same room at the same time before?
Fair point.
Okay.
So, of course, everyone knows that next week is E3. Now, I just want to give you guys a heads up, those listening, that we are going to be hosting next Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till whenever we finish a post-E3 special episode. So we're going to go outside our normal 2-week routine, where next week we're going to have a special E3, post-E3 episode. We're going to have a friend of ours come in and join us in the conversations about that, cover everything that's happening during that week of E3, and then after that, we'll have our regular episode, and then after that, we'll go back to our normal 2-week routine. So
yeah,
that's going to be be pretty fun, I think.
That's a lot of dealing with you over the next 3 weeks, I'll tell you that much.
Oh, come on, I'm lovable.
Yeah.
All right, but right now, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Now, what I'm going to talk about first was Microsoft yesterday, and I do mean yesterday, released a 3-link press release concerning the Xbox One or Xbox One. Yeah, exactly. So
I think that's what they're going to call it in the Hispanic, the Spanish-speaking countries. It's going to be Xbox One.
Xbox One. Will it be equipped? I'm sorry to stereotype right now, but will it be with sombreros and banjos?
I just wanted to have a burrito maker. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Burritos rock.
They do rock.
Anyway, so go on.
So pretty much Microsoft clarified some of the issues that came up after their big reveal of the Xbox One. They covered how game licensing will work, and this is pretty much straight from the article. The way game licensing will work, you can buy the way you want, either disc or digital, on day of launch. So you'll be able to buy the disc. It'll be licensed to your system. And then, along with that, you can access your entire games library from any Xbox One without a disc. After signing in, and this is directly from their article. After signing in, I'm flubbing over my words. Signing in and installing, you can play any of your games from any Xbox One because a digital copy of your game is stored on your console and in the cloud. Now, they have yet to specify how much storage space they're going to have on the cloud.
Well, cloud storage is very, very large. So,
no, it depends.
Even the minimum.
But for us, we have as many servers now as the world had in 1999.
Wow. Microsoft has more servers now than they did in 1999?
Yeah.
I think we went over this already.
We did go over this, but I just want to bring that up again because that is so funny that they use that comparison.
Yeah. 1999.
So, now here comes
I
some of the...
what I was doing in 1999.
Probably middle school. That's what I was doing.
Like 11. So
Xbox One becomes a digital copy of your game is stored on the cloud. So, for example, while you are logged in at your friend's house, you can play your games. Now, I'm going to bring this up because it revolves around the connectivity. Microsoft has stated that your Xbox One does need to maintain an internet connection, and it will check this every 24 hours.
I was playing Legend of Zelda. I was definitely playing Ocarina of Time at that point in 1999. That's definitely what I was doing.
So pretty much right now, you're going to have 24 hours of offline play on your console. But let's say you're playing one of your games on your profile on your friend's console. Guess how much time you're going to get?
Wait, can you restate the question, please?
Okay, the question right now is, Microsoft has stated that they're going to check for a connection every 24 hours. So
24 hours.
If you don't have a connection, you can have 24 hours of offline play on your console.
Okay.
But what if you're at a friend's house and they lose connection? How much playtime do you think you'll be allowed on your friend's console?
Well, the obvious answer is not 24 hours. So, 24 seconds.
A little bit more than that. 1 hour.
Okay, I can deal with
it. You get 1 hour of playtime on your friend's console, and then it boots you. You won't be able to play any games. All you'll be able to do is watch cable TV, which I can already do on my cable box, and watch DVDs and Blu-rays.
Yeah, that's...
And this goes into the licensing. You can give your games to your friends, but only once. Period. So, it's not like you can give your games once per friend. It's once. You can only give your game to one friend.
Yeah, I was actually reading about that earlier.
And this kind of contradicts how we do it, because one of us will buy the game and be like, hey, did you finish that game? Yeah. All right, let me play it now.
Yeah, that's kind of how we do our reviews, because if we were to have to buy 2 copies of every game we reviewed, we'd pretty much be broke.
We would be.
Yeah, I mean, but so this you know, if we end up having to not do reviews on this show, you can blame Microsoft, probably.
Well, if we have to review Xbox One games, we still have yet no idea how Sony is going to operate. Hopefully they'll give clarification next Monday.
Well, they haven't even said anything about it.
Yeah, but at least they're consistent.
They're consistently not saying anything.
Yeah, but I'll give them credit. Like, at least they're getting their word straight down the board. Their word is, we're not saying anything, whereas Microsoft has been all over the place.
Yeah, they're pretty jumbled. It's weird for Microsoft. They're usually the straightforward.
Now, this is the big one a lot of people are worried about. Trading in. Trading in and resell your disc-based games. Today, some gamers choose to sell their old disc-based games back for cash and or credit.
Some of them. Only a very small percentage of people. There's not like there's a store dedicated to that sort of thing or anything at all.
Bulldong. So there are no fees charged as part of these transfers. There are 2 requirements. I'm sorry. This is another thing you can do for your friends. You can only give them to your friends who have been on your friends list for at least 30 days.
So basically, Microsoft is determining who your best friends are.
Right. So if they're on your friends list, and they've been on your friends list for a month, you can start giving them your game once.
I don't like any of this at all.
But here comes the trade-in one. So today, some gamers choose to sell. This is directly from their article. Today, some gamers choose to sell their old disc-based games back for cash and or credit. We designed Xbox One so game publishers can enable you to trade in your games at participating retailers. Microsoft does not charge a platform fee to retailers, publishers, or consumers for enabling transfer of these games. That's pretty much saying Microsoft is just saying, yo, we're not going to do this. But here comes the bigger question. What about the publishers who are the more adamant about the used game market? They didn't say anything about the publishers not doing it.
Well, yeah, obviously. If they're throwing it over to the publishers, then the publishers are going to do it, especially ones that are anti-used game market, which is most of them.
Right. They go into the Kinect, but the big ones I wanted to cover, I pretty much covered. They go into the entire article on the Kinect. You can find it on our Facebook page. I posted the link on Twitter. The Facebook page is, of course, facebook.com/gamenationradio. Twitter is @gamenationradio. One other thing I wanted to cover from this article before we move on. Also, if you guys have any questions about the Xbox One thing or any of the other stories we're covering, you can, of course, join our live chat. It's open. Or you can call into the station directly at area code 347-327-9451. And I might add, it is a toll-free number, so you don't have to pay any tolls or anything like that to call in. Just get on your phone, call the station, and join our debate or conversation.
I mean, if you want to pay us, we're not going to say no.
True. We're not going to say no. We'll be like, oh, thanks for the donation.
I could use money.
I think we all can use money. So in terms of the network connection, they went into a whole slew of things. Like, I could cover everything, but it would take me a while. And
just do the basics.
I covered pretty much the 2 big basics. The other one is, they have a minimum optimal bandwidth recommendation of 1.5 megabits per second. Now they did an average. The average was done by Akamai. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right or not.
Let's go with that.
Sure. The average global internet connection speed was 2.9 megabits per second.
So then everyone should be fine for the most part.
More or less, everyone should be fine, but there are still some areas which have no internet. Now, the fact that it always has to be on screws over so many people. Do you know who it screws over the most?
Poor people.
Well, besides them.
Africa.
Okay.
Wait. I know this one. You.
No, it doesn't screw over me.
Me.
Maybe.
Both of us.
Probably. I was gonna say military.
Oh yeah, but you know,
well,
they're just
but do you know
military.
Do you know what the most commonly used console overseas by the military is? Xbox 360.
I don't understand why they would want to play first-person shooters. They love that stuff.
I don't know. Maybe they're just maybe it's a great stress reliever or something. I don't know.
Just go shoot real.
And then there, like I said, there's going to be cloud. They have yet to state how much storage space it will be on the cloud right now. But yeah, like if you guys want to read the article, it's online. You can find it. Any news site has reported pretty much this entire thing yesterday. So what have we got next?
Well, sticking with the Microsoft theme for now, some industry experts are saying that there could be. The wording for this article is kind of unclear, but Microsoft over 1 billion next-gen consoles will be sold.
Wait.
1 billion with a B.
Billion?
1 billion. Units. But anyway, the wording's sort of unclear whether they're talking about in general or just Xbox. But I'm going to go on a limb and say that they're just talking about the Xbox One.
Yeah, let's stick with the theory that they're talking just about Xbox One. I'm sorry,
One. Anyway, but so now this is kind of interesting. If we just look at this from an Xbox perspective, we have that the Xbox 360 sold just under 80 million units up until the end of last year. So not counting whatever they've sold this year.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty big.
That's a good amount of units.
But that's nowhere near a billion. Now, if we start looking at other numbers here, the PS2, which is the best-selling console of all time, sold an estimated 155 million units. The Nintendo DS comes in right after it with just under 154 million units. Let's see, what else we got here? And then you of course have the 77 million units that were Xbox 360 and 76 million for PS3 or vice versa. It's one of those two, but they're in the same ballpark.
Right, and
now even if you were to combine all three of these, you don't even have half a billion. So I don't know how they plan on getting this, and that's not only that. Let me point this out. That spans 2 generations. That spans PS2. It spans 2 generations plus 2 different platforms. It spans PS2, a handheld, and then the 2 current gen consoles for both Microsoft and Sony combined. So for that to reach one.
So you're talking about 2 generations of consoles.
2 generations of consoles spanning 2 separate platforms of consoles. So. For them to reach a billion is going to be. I'd be shocked if they even got close to to half of that.
Right. So you'd have to let's say because there was an article recently that I have in front of me that one of the most prominent video game analysts out there, Michael Pachter. If you know, a lot of people know him. He pretty much dropped the ball on. I guess that PS4 will sell for around 350. Now this is still within.
I got it right here. Hold on. So yeah, he estimates that it will sell for $349, and he estimates that the Xbox One will sell for $399. This based on his assessment of the parts and the cost of the actual construction of the systems.
Right. So since they're both using aftermarket PC parts, pretty much, they're just glorified overclocked PCs. The price for the unit will drop down. Now, if Microsoft decides to go beyond that prediction, they hurt themselves. Who's going to pay more than $400? Like, let's say Microsoft sells it for $500. Who's going to pay $500 for a console at launch?
I mean, we saw the problem with that last
with the PS3.
The PS3, a lot of people didn't like. I ended up spending $600 on my first PS3, and it took me a while to do that. I did not want to spend $600, and I was younger at that point. I didn't have as much money, and I still wouldn't want to spend that much.
Neither would I. That's a big investment. If I'm spending $600, you know what I'd be getting? A PC.
Yeah. And I remember my PS3, my first one. It lasted a while, and then it sort of just slowly but surely stopped working. It just slowly died. First the disk drive went, and I was like, well, I can still do digital download games. And then the digital and then I couldn't even do that anymore. And it was kind of depressing. That
is pretty depressing. But my PS3 did the same thing, except mine didn't mine just straight up froze. It just would not work. Period. I was like, crap, I gotta go buy a new one. But at that point, the PS3 Slim had come out, and the PS3 Slim was a pretty fair price. So I was like, you know what, I'll get that.
Yeah, if only it could have been that price at launch.
Yeah, hopefully both Sony learns from their mistake and sells it at a reasonable price. Well,
It's looking increasingly like Sony has definitely learned from their mistake in the last gen.
Yeah.
But, I'm still kind of, perplexed by these numbers. Like, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, why would anybody even predict that? Not like one bit. So
that's a pretty bold prediction.
So yeah, that's the prediction that 1/6 of not 1/6. Yeah, 1/6 of the entire world will own a Microsoft Xbox One. That's saying that. So let's take it. Their biggest market is the United States.
Yes.
Microsoft hasn't really broken through the console wars yet into the other countries.
No, internationally the PS3 is more popular.
Yeah.
Or PS2, more specifically.
So we have, for the sake of argument, 300 million people in the United States.
That's not even close to a sixth.
Yeah. Well, I'm just hold on, and that's assuming everybody, every old person, every baby owns an Xbox One. That means a newborn baby is born and they buy an Xbox One.
Right. So right now the world's population is between 6 to 7 billion. So for the sake of argument, let's say it's 6 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a billion people buying, to qualify for that. That's saying that's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to, and I really question this industry expert who came up with this number.
Probably works for Microsoft.
Yeah, I let me see. Just to go on for a second, I'll see if I can find his name.
Right. So continuing on this Microsoft trend, Microsoft recently applied. Now I don't know if this went through or not. Microsoft applied for a patent on TV achievements. Now I know a lot of people who are, for lack of a better word, an achievement whore. So. So the fact that TVs now are going to have achievements makes me picture you turn on the TV, you go to say
How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother.
You watched How I Met Your Mother for 5 straight hours. Achievement unlocked.
Achievement unlocked. And then underneath that, it's just wow, you must really like this show, which I do. I love that show.
How I Met Your Mother is quite possibly the best show on TV right now, even though the last season did lack a little bit.
It had its hits, it had its misses, but that's just every TV show. But the fact that Microsoft is going down this focus of TV and entertainment, they're trying to be what Nintendo did in terms of targeting the mass market. But the TV and media thing, Sony did that with the PS3. It hurt them. Now, the only entertainment thing I use on my PS3 is Netflix. That's it.
For How I Met Your Mother, ironically enough.
Well, A, How I Met Your Mother. B, various movies.
Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, I am a big Doctor Who fan, and there was a friend of mine who I met through this show, on the show Blue Zone Report, actually talked about, he talked about the season finale of Doctor Who, and I want to know what he thinks on the fact that Matt Smith left, but I'm not going to get into that topic.
Wait, who is this?
It's another guy who listens to our show on Blog Talk Radio, who has his own show on here.
Oh, hey, whoever you are.
Yeah.
That's a shout out to whoever you are.
That's a shout out.
Or whatever you are. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a guy.
It's a guy. I listened to his Matt Smith series finale episode. It was pretty good.
Yeah, maybe we could do a crossover one day.
We could, maybe.
We could.
The fact that I want to hear his thoughts on. I've heard so many of my friends' thoughts. I want to hear his thoughts on the fact that Matt Smith left the show, but that's for a totally another topic that's not related to video games. We're a video game show. We got to talk about video games. That's for his show. But the fact that Microsoft applied for TV patents just shocked me. I'm just wait, what? Why? I mean, I understand that their current business model, but I don't know. It's weird. And
we already went over a lot of the Xbox One stuff in our last episode.
Yeah,
So, I mean, these are just a few updates. If you guys are really interested in hearing our opinions on most of the Xbox One specs and problems, You can go back listen to our archived episode, the last episode we did. It was all about Xbox, but we're gonna have to. We can't stick on the Xbox forever. We need to move on. Especially
we gotta move on, and we'll have more information during our special next week on Saturday.
Which will not have a time limit. We will go until we can't talk anymore.
We'll figure. And then but right now we got other stuff to cover. Like what have you got?
We'll do a couple of small stories.
Here's a couple of small stories, and then we'll get into a big one again.
Bethesda will be handing over Prey 2 to the Dishonored development team.
I have to emphasize the fact that this is a rumor.
This is a rumor, yes. This is not confirmed. It's actually nice big lettering right there, rumor.
Yeah.
Basically, Bethesda, as everyone knows, Fallout, my favorite game, Fallout 3 specifically.
One of
mine. They also made
Skyrim.
They made all the Elder Scrolls games, and they've had their hands in other games, and Dishonored was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And they're handing over the development of their game Prey 2 supposedly to that team. And Dishonored was actually very well done. It was a very interesting game. It didn't sell quite as well as it should have probably.
Probably, but it did garner a lot of praise. A lot of
it was one of those games that was like the equivalency to an Oscar movie.
Yeah, it was like Oscar bait game.
Yeah, exactly. Where it wasn't like it didn't make the big numbers like an Avengers or a Dark Knight or something like that, but it still got awards.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like that, where it's like, Call of Duty makes all the money nowadays, but they don't really garner any awards, and a lot of these games that garner the awards kind of slip underneath.
They slip under the radar.
So basically, the way I'm looking at it, if this is true, which it comes from an anonymous tipster, and when your article actually emphasizes anonymous tipster with a clickable link,
you have to carry it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you have to carry it with a grain of salt. It's an actual clickable link. That's kind of weird. I don't know. Wait, are you looking up the definition of anonymous tipster?
No, I'm not.
No, not you. But I mean, but this was told to Kotaku.
Yeah.
This was where they got the information was from, and it's one of those things. I kind of hope that this is true.
Because I enjoy. While I didn't finish playing Dishonored, I did enjoy playing it. I played the first Prey game. I did not hate it, but I did not like it. I thought it was an okay game.
I didn't play Prey.
So I'm hoping Prey 2...
You're praying that Prey is good?
I am praying that Prey is good, yes.
Okay.
Let us stick with that slogan. I'm praying that Prey is good. And then, kind of going to another developer, EA. Oh, EA, how do you always end up in our news every week? You always end up in our articles.
They're like the largest developer.
They're one of it. In my opinion, the big three are them, Activision, and Ubisoft.
I would say EA is bigger than those two, though.
Well, those are the big three. Those are the ones that put out a lot of the multi-million-dollar AAA titles. You have Call of Duty from Activision, Battlefield from EA, everything else from Ubisoft.
I mean, obviously.
And THQ used to be one of them, but THQ is 6 feet under.
Yes.
And I have a story about another auction from THQ later on that a lot of people I know will like. But
let's get on this first story first.
But EA right now is set to support current gen, and I'm talking about PS3, Wii, 360 to at least 2017. So, 2017. So, of course, EA, king of the world. Why not?
Hail to the king, baby.
Stop stopping when I'm clicking on my link. Stop it. You have to continue talking.
Well,
it kills
you know how I am.
You're easily distracted.
I have really bad ADD. Sue me.
I will.
But EA is going to...
And you'll forget it's going on. You'll be like, why am I in court? Oh, a bird.
Oh.
Why is there a bird in court?
Brian, that's a butterfly.
Oh. Actual story.
Yeah.
Actual story. You know what? Let's hold on to that story. So one time we're just hanging out, and I go, oh my God, look, there's a blue jay over there. And Brian stares right at a butterfly and goes, oh, that's a nice blue jay.
No, I don't even say, oh, that's a nice blue jay. I just go, oh.
And I went, Brian, that's a butterfly.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Everyone just looks dumbfounded. Like, really? That just happened?
Yeah.
It was one of my many crowning moments of stupid.
Yeah, there's many of them.
Yeah, well,
that's an understatement.
That is an understatement. But according to the company CFO Blake Jorgensen, he made the announcement earlier in the last week, a couple weeks ago, that EA will support the current generation through 2017. He even teased that there, like, such as Battlefront, there are more. He quotes, "These aren't movie games per se; these are standalone games, but obviously it would come out near the movies and be able to tailgate off of some of the buzz that will be created around the new Star Wars movie." So he pretty much states that through 2017, you're going to see a lot of Star Wars games on the current gen as well as next gen. Which,
yeah, generally Star Wars didn't really do many actual movie games. The only one I can think of was the Episode 3 movie game.
I got that game and I regretted it.
The only thing that was good about that game was the fact that you could change the ending and have Darth Vader win.
You.
That was the only thing that was good, which didn't make any sense if you really think about it. But
it was just one.
But I mean, even like the first the Episode 1 crossover, not crossover, movie game was Jedi Power Battles. It really had very little to do with the actual movie.
There was another one. They released a standalone game of Episode 1 on the PS1.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
Oh.
I remember because I played it. I hated it.
Okay, well, that basically just avoid any game that is specifically made for the movies.
Yeah, avoid movie tie-in games because every time I buy a movie tie-in game, it disappoints me. Remember when I bought the Iron Man game?
You bought the Iron Man game?
Yeah, I bought the Iron Man game.
Why?
I don't know.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. I was like, oh, it's an Iron Man game.
An Iron Man game, honestly, you know what, let's do the sidebar for a second here. I don't understand why they haven't been able to make an Iron Man game that's good. Like, think about it. Like, it would be...
It kind of falls in that same category as like a good Superman game.
No, but think about it. I think you're just going about it wrong. Who says it has to be a third-person game?
Are you saying you're like a first-person Iron Man game?
Think about it. Like a Metroid Prime-esque kind of thing where you're at like a good heads-up display, you know, and you can upgrade your weapons as you go along, you know, all this stuff.
That actually sounds like a really awesome concept.
Yeah, like I would like to see that, and it could be completely has nothing to do with the movies.
Like let's say we take like actual Metroid Prime, like when you're in humanoid form, you're in first person,
yeah.
And then when you go into the ball, you're third person. Take that exact same concept, except when you're flying as Iron Man, you're third person.
Yeah, well, and only when you're flying as a really fast pace.
Right.
Yeah, like, you know, you can still be flying while in first person.
Yeah, you could be hovering. It's like, I'm in first person, and enemy. Donk.
Yeah. I think that, like, I don't understand, like, why no one's thought of that yet. I know that with the Iron Man game, the last one, it was basically all third person.
Mm-hmm.
And it was terrible, which that works for like a Spider-Man game or Incredible Hulk. Ultimate Destruction was really good.
Yes.
A third-person game. And generally X-Men games are pretty good like that. But the
not X-Men Destiny.
I never played that one. I won't.
I never bought it. I think a friend of mine had it, and I played it on his. I'm like, why did you get this game? This is terrible. I've had more fun playing Pong than I did playing this game.
Pong. They should have Atari should have had a MA update to that, like a mature audience update where it was beer pong. but besides that, back to what I was saying, yeah, that's one of those things. Like I've always wondered, like why has nobody thought of making a good first-person shooter in the suit Iron Man game? I mean, think about it. Even in the movies, they kind of like they go into his helmet and like you can see from his perspective sometimes what's going on, and it'll have like the whole. You know, like he'll be targeting multiple people, and it'll fire all different like little missiles at them and stuff, and like that's something that would be really, really awesome.
That does sound like an interesting concept, and I would give it to any developer.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think any developer can really screw that up.
No. Well, maybe they can, but if I know some developers, they'll find a way to screw it up.
Here we have Iron Man the Games, directed by M. Night Shyamalan.
Oh dear. I
keep headbutting the microphone.
Stop headbutting the microphone.
Stop doing that.
I actually watched After Earth.
You went to go see that? Or you downloaded it illegally?
I'm not gonna say.
Okay.
I'm not. Either way, I'm gonna
Honestly,
I'm gonna be given a guilt trip either way.
No,
so
I won't guilt trip. That's a movie that I hope you didn't pay for.
Yeah, I'll say this. I did not pay for it.
Okay, as long as you didn't pay for it.
I did not pay for it. I saw the movie. It was one of the worst movies I had ever seen. Yeah. It was so boring. Like a friend of mine said he enjoyed the movie. I looked at him and went, how?
Which friend? Because he's stupid.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say he's stupid. He has different taste in movies than I do. I'll say that.
He's got bad taste. It's obvious what he has. I don't care if he's listening. That's bad taste in movies. If you like M. Night Shyamalan's work, anything post Signs is pretty much terrible with him.
I'll say post Unbreakable because even I didn't like Signs. I thought Signs was horrendously boring. But
okay,
well, we gotta get back on track because we got a lot of news stories to cover. You know what? Since Signs is a science fiction movie,
yeah,
I got a story about a science fiction game series, an old one at that.
Sounds good to me. Let's hear it.
How many have you ever heard of or played?
Yeah, don't ask them as if they're going to be able to answer us.
Well, I'm asking you.
Okay.
I'm asking you.
Okay, go on.
And this kind of goes out to the general audience as well. Have you ever heard of or played the what's the name of it?
You did so much research.
I just saw Free Space.
No, I haven't heard of that. No, I've heard.
It's this really popular open world space sim game. It was recently bought under the auction for really, really cheap. There's a
amazing THQ game.
It was a THQ licensed game. Yes. It was recently bought out for $7,500 because the game is so old. And there's so many open mods out there. Like there's an open source engine of the game. There's so many mods.
So it's kind of like in like the vein of like Counter-Strike then.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
It's in the same vein as Counter-Strike at this point. It was bought out by Interplay.
Oh, Interplay. Yeah, I know them.
Yeah, the guys who made the original Fallout games.
Yeah.
Which I want to go back and play now.
You know, I had them, but I had all the PC collection of the original Fallout games, but a lot of the not next gen, the current PCs, they don't render properly on those, so I ended up selling it. It was kind of, you can get a collection of it.
I could probably find it on Good Old Games or something like that.
Honestly, they have it that you can get the discs at like Target for like $15.
Well, I could find that, but I'd rather have a digital copy of it because if I get bored of it, I'll just delete it and then I can just install it whenever I want.
Yeah.
But Free Space 2 is now under the guise of Interplay. Now, I want to know what they do with this license because I played Free Space.
Well, they're going to sell it to Bethesda eventually. That's what's going to happen. they're going to make a couple of games. It'll have a great idea behind it, and then Bethesda will buy it from them and make it better.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if they make a game out of this. If they just say, you know what, we're going to re-release it as an HD remix on Steam or something like that. I'm interested to see what they do with this. This was just really announced earlier today, so and I love this game. It kind of falls in that same sci-fi love I have with Homeworld and Sins of the Solar Empire, though their RTSs, this is an open world. But I'll have more on this as it develops. But you got something right in front of you right now. What do you got?
Well, since we're talking about games that are either in development or bought or whatever, Dark Souls 2 is set to arrive early next year.
How is this stated? How is this confirmed?
This was, let's see, it was apparently according to Billboard.
Billboard? What kind of billboard?
I don't know. That's what it says.
Oh, I remember hearing about this story. Yes. I remember this story. It was actually stated on I saw the article on Kotaku that it was pretty much teased by their E3 billboard.
Oh, okay.
It was their E3 billboard.
I thought they meant like the Billboard top chart. I was like, what the hell is that having?
Why is the music?
But basically, anybody, the Dark Souls 1 was a sequel, a spiritual sequel to Demon Souls.
Yes.
So it's a Souls series. It wasn't really
Now, I never played Dark Souls 1 or Demon Souls.
I have Demon Souls, and I've heard Dark Souls is even harder.
A friend of mine, like Dave, has.
Yeah, Dave's little brother.
Dave's little brother is addicted to that game and is a beast at that game.
Yeah, he walks up to me whenever I come over and he's like, guess what, Russ? And I'm like, what, Tim? And he's like, I did something in Demon Souls, or I did something in Dark Souls, and I'll be like, I don't know what the hell that is.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And he'll be like,
it's like saying I go up to you and said I did something in Metal Gear Solid 1.
Yeah. No, it's not even. It's worse than that though. It's like because I've played Metal Gear Solid, and the worst part is that he's always in his underpants. He comes up to me. He's always like just kind of in his underpants. Just walks up to me and goes, "Guess what, Russ? Playing Dark Souls." And I was like, "That's nice, Tim. Put on some pants."
yes, Tim. If you're listening, put on some pants.
He's not listening.
Probably not.
But yeah, so basically it's looking like it's going to be anywhere from February to April, more like March.
So the spring window.
Yeah.
The spring window.
The quarter, late quarter one, early quarter two. Of next year, which I'm sure there's a lot of people that are interested in that. I'm not a Dark Souls guy. I was more of when it came to the dark games, I was more Darksiders. But definitely that's one of those games that, well, what are you doing?
I am chatting on the chat board. What do you think I'm doing?
Oh, is anything good on there?
Not right now, actually.
Oh, you're chatting a lot over there. What's going on?
Well, I'm also chatting with a friend of mine who I'm going to tell him on the radio show right now, because she's asking about something totally unrelated to the show.
Okay, well, like I was saying, Dark Souls. Since I apparently have the ADD now.
Yeah. We all have ADD.
Dark Souls is kind of interesting though. It's one of those games that it's another one of those games that didn't garner as much as it probably should have.
It's one of those falling under the radar games.
And that's unfortunate that nowadays that's happening. Unless it's a series that has six prequels before the sequel, and it becomes like one of those things where it basically is the fifth or sixth game in the series. It's not really selling as much as it should.
Yeah, like I said, it's one of those under the radar games. Dave goes, we can hear your Skype beeps on the mic on the show. Mute your browser, dopey McProfessional.
We don't get paid, so there's no professionalism here. But yes, I would actually love it if you can get rid of those Skype noises. That would be great.
Well, I'm going to mute them right now. I'm
so glad I didn't have my headphones on.
Yeah.
Because if I had my headphones on, I'd be choking you unconscious right about now for screwing that up.
Well, they're all muted. You know what? Speaking of dopey beeps, we got a really big story going on. Like that kind of.
Oh yeah. Actually, that's a good reminder. It's more like it's not really. It wasn't really like a beep. It was more like a surprise.
That was a surprise.
When I read this, I was pretty much. I was happy, but it was really one of those things where I was just like, I can't believe this. I looked at it, I started reading it, and Brian can't find the soundbite.
I don't know what soundbite you're talking about.
I'm trying the surprise soundbite.
Oh.
How many times can I say surprise? And you can't figure out which soundbite I'm talking about. You are completely. There we go.
There we go.
My incompetence.
We are so great.
I can't take it anymore.
We are so great.
I can't take it anymore.
But this one,
I say surprise 5 times in a row. Five goddamn times.
So what we got?
Shocked, surprised, appalled. I don't. You know what? There we go.
There we go. Surprises everywhere.
But of course, Brian couldn't figure that one out. Anyway, reflected myself.
It's Marvelli all over again.
Marvelli. Okay, I need to get into the story. So as everybody knows, probably anybody, especially who follows the Metal Gear Solid series, we have a couple of games coming out in the near future. One of them is the Phantom Pain.
Ground Zeroes.
This actually goes into my my whole thing about how games that are only doing successful are ones that have a lot of prequels and have multiple sequels and all this stuff. But they are replacing Snake, specifically Snake Big Boss, not Solid Snake, with a very well-known actor that most people might know as Jack Bauer.
Get down on the ground!
Yeah, we actually tried to get that sound clip.
I could not find that sound bite.
But Jack Bauer will now be Naked Snake Big Boss.
That's actually an interesting...
Kiefer Sutherland, but I call him Jack Bauer. you know. But a lot of people were like asked me this because as I've said in the past, I'm a big Metal Gear Solid fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still
biggest one I know.
I'm still a little upset with. Well, I don't know. Larry's pretty big too. But he buys a lot. He wastes all of his money on that.
On the
figures. I'm like,
he recently got like a huge scale model of Metal Gear Rex. It's ridiculous.
How much did he spend on that?
I don't want to know. I think he told me the price, and I just chose to forget it.
That's probably
because it's so shocking.
Whatever. Larry, I know he'll probably listen to this. Stop wasting your money.
Stop it, Larry.
Seriously. But so yeah, Kiefer Sutherland will be playing it, and a lot of people asked me, like, when they heard this, they were like, "What do you think about the replacement?"
I posted on Facebook. I was like, "What do you think?"
And I think I was among the first people to respond. And I said that I agree with that. I really like Kiefer Sutherland's work, even in some of his work. Like, first of all, I don't know if you guys look up this article, it's quite possibly the worst picture I've ever seen in my life, Kiefer Sutherland. But he seriously has the gritting teeth smile where like his neck is bulging.
I think he's in the picture he's simulating like some of the stuff he had to do because they also did facial capturing for him.
Yeah, I've heard
correlate to the model in the game.
I've heard about that they're trying to do more mocap face cap stuff. So but basically, I think this is a good thing. I think that especially considering the fact that it's not Solid Snake.
True. I mean, you had like the original voice actor David Hayter pretty much more or less on Twitter gave his blessing.
Yeah.
Saying like, yeah, it's a good choice. I'll accept it.
Well, he has no choice.
It's not that he doesn't have a choice.
He doesn't have it. No, he doesn't have a choice. He can choose not to accept
but
here's
the logic Kojima gave. Kojima gave that at the time this game is set, it's 1984. Around this point, Snake, Big Boss / Snake it Snake, whichever you want to call him.
Snake it Snake?
Sure, let's go with that.
Snake it Snake.
Snake it Snake.
Snake it.
Is about like in his late 40s. I think he said like 49 years old, so he's pushing 50. And he said, we wanted a character in his mid to late 40s to truly capture, and they were totally going a different direction. They wanted to capture like facial emotion over vocal emotion. And I'm like, wait, before he said that last portion, I looked it up. David Hayter is 44 years old right now. He still kind of fits the bill in that, but since they wanted facial capturing, and David Hayter's a better voice actor than he is an on-screen actor, I kind of agree more with the fact that Kiefer Sutherland is there, because the only on-screen performance I saw David Hayter do was Guyver 2.
Yeah, I don't really, I think it's just an excuse, to be honest with you. I think that...
There's probably some behind-the-scenes stuff.
Yeah, there's probably something going on. I mean, that's pure speculation on my part, but for them to all of a sudden not want to use David Hayter after they've used him since...
1998.
Yeah, 98.
So you're talking about nearly 20 years. 98 to 08. Yeah, almost 20 years.
What?
1998 to 2008.
That's 10 years. 2008 to 2013.
To 2018 is 20 years. So like I said, almost...
What the hell year do you think we're in?
2013.
15 years, Brian.
Yes, 15
They've been
years.
using him 15 years. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yes. Yeah, someone goes on our chat room and is like, wait, Kiefer Sutherland is Snake now? Yes, Dave. Kiefer Sutherland is now Solid Snake.
I can't believe you thought we were in 2018.
No, I knew we were in 2018.
You just said 20.
I said almost, to show my math that it's almost 20 years.
No, it's not even close. It's just as far away from 10 years as it is 20.
Well, whatever.
At 15, it would have been a great... If you could have went, hey, how many years is it? Let's see. It's 10 years from 1998 to 2008, and 5 years... 20 years. There we go. There's Brian Math.
Brian freaking Math has shown up in our episode finally.
Time out. Okay, so Brian Math. You know what? We've derailed this episode.
That's fine.
We've derailed it. Brian Math, let me explain this. So we used to play this game. A lot of people out there maybe play tabletops like Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that. We used to play one that was superhero based called Mutants and Masterminds. It was a point-buy system. Hold on. Allergies are bothering me a little bit. It was a point-buy system where every power and statistic about your character was a certain number of points. So let's say you wanted super strength. Each rank of super strength was a 2-buy. Like you pay 2 points, get 1 level super strength. So basically you would get a preset number per level. So the average level for a superhero was 10. We'd get 150 points to start. It was 15 points per level.
Yeah.
Brian would always make a character and go, "Oh no, don't worry about it. I got plenty of points left. I've got like 10 points left," and we would always do the math, and he'd be like 14, 15, 175 points over the limit.
One time I was like, David, my friend Dave just goes, "Brian, you're 30 points over. How are you 30 points over?"
So we dubbed that Brian math.
Yeah, and it's shown up in various situations.
But yeah, so back to David Hayter and Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland is Solid Snake.
I enjoy this. I think it's going to bring a lot to the character. I think that one of the issues that a lot of people always had with Snake was even though like David Hayter had a great voice for it, his emotions were very limited. He was either angry or passive.
Nothing in between.
There was nothing in between. It was like or
Colonel. Also, although that Gravely voice is kind of iconic now.
Yeah.
So,
right. Yeah.
But still, the fact that Kiefer Sutherland is now going to be Snake, I'm interested to see. Now, here's the big question: is he going to do both Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain, or is it just Phantom Pain?
It did not say in the article, I don't think.
No, it didn't.
It did not.
It did not say in the article.
It said that as of right now, he's only signed up for Phantom Pain. So,
but
I mean,
again,
there is a chance that this might be one of those things where they're just changing one of the characters and keeping the other one. That way they're trying to differentiate between the two.
But then you create a whole slew of continuity errors in the game. But then again, you've already created that by recasting the voice of Snake.
Yeah. Not really. I mean, recasting a voice doesn't really create a continuity error. But I think one of the things is, even though Snake is a clone of Solid Snake is a clone of
Big Boss.
I don't. They basically they used kind of weird video game logic in how he was made only through dominant genes.
That's what I was
doesn't make any sense.
I was trying to justify in storyline in my head, and I was like, wait. As most people, normal people, not clones, get older, their voice kind of deepens. It kind of gets raspy or totally different than what they were when they were young. Mm-hmm. Whereas Snake just went through rapid aging as a clone. Yeah,
and it really, one of the reasons why your voice changes over the course of the years has nothing to do with the actual age that you're at. It actually has to do with the wear and tear on your vocal cords.
Yeah.
So if you were only someone who talks a lot like myself might have a raspier voice in the future than somebody who was relatively quiet their entire life.
Right. And Snake has always been a man of few words.
Yeah, so there is a really good chance that Solid Snake himself would not have the same voice at his rapid aging age of like what was he like? He was around, and it looked physically in his 60s.
He looked physically in his 60s, but I think physically he was like around his
late 30s, early 40s.
Yeah, like around his 40s, I want to say.
But, like his voice would not have been as damaged from years of talking because you're talking about shaving off 20 years of time right there.
Right.
So, you got that going on.
I think you had Liquid who had the British voice, but that's because, well, genetics, he took more after his mother.
Well, accents have nothing to do with...
That's right. They have to do with where you're growing up and your exposure
you
to
could
the
be
environment.
100% like American and grow up in like, be moved to like an area, I don't know, let's say like Germany, and then you're gonna speak German, obviously. And even if you only spoke the English with people who spoke German, you would develop an accent just from talking to people.
Just because that's how they talk, yeah.
But yeah, so there is logic behind this where you could see like why they're kind of forking in the middle and having two separate voices, which leads me to kind of believe that maybe there will be another on-screen thing between the two of them that like are in-game thing between the two of them for Ground Zeroes. I don't really.
That's what they decided to introduce the actual beginnings. Excuse me, the beginnings of the cloning project. I forget the name.
Les Enfants Terribles.
There we go. Yeah, the Les Enfants Terribles, the terrible children.
How you forgot that, I'll never understand.
Brain fart.
Les Enfants Terribles.
Like the beginnings of it, and Big Boss is just like, oh, so you're my kid? Oh no, so how's it going? You're going to be Solid Snake now or whatever.
Well, you have to remember, before Metal Gear 2, he didn't actually know that Big Boss was his father.
True.
Also, during Metal Gear 2, his eye patch was on the wrong eye.
Oh, that could just be fault.
That was just
That was just fault. That was just bad.
There was a lot of things that were wrong with the first two Metal Gear games.
But I'm excited for Ground Zeroes. I cannot wait for that game. I hope it comes out this year.
I don't think it's going to. I think that's going to become. I think that's going to get pushed back, and it's really going to become the first generation of games for the next gen consoles.
Probably.
I have a feeling that they're going to do that because having a Metal Gear Solid game at launch bodes well for the next gen game.
It does. It does. It help increase the sales of the system.
Because it's one of the best selling series.
Yes, it is.
It's among the best selling series.
Maybe Kojima will give us a launch date next week.
I'm still upset that he has yet to decide on when there's going to be a
Zone of the Enders
3.
I know.
Zone of the Enders 1 and 2, as great as they are not satiating my hunger. Not satiating my thirst anymore.
I played Zone of the Enders. I got the HD collection. I played both. I like Zone of the Enders 2 more than 1.
Well, 2 had better. 1 barely had any story to it.
1 barely had story. 2 had the better story and the better combat system.
Yeah, the combat system in 1 was kind of
clunky,
jank.
It was pretty jank. Oh man, but I cannot wait for Ground Zeroes and the Phantom Pain. I still say they're going to be one game. I don't know.
As of right now, I'm really not. I don't think they're going to be one game. I think it's going to be 2 separate games.
Well, we shall see.
I mean, Kojima has proven in the past to be the master of deception for absolutely no reason. He likes to deceive his customer base. He's kind of a weird person.
He is.
He's he just kind of sits around and comes up how can I trick people today? He's the M. Night Shyamalan
of video
games, but good at his job.
Yeah, because he just well, then again, he just sticks to one franchise and well.
Which sucks because he really had several good franchises going, and he just kind of I'm sick of him. The one complaint I have with Hideo Kojima is that I'm sick of him telling me he's giving up, he's done with Metal Gear Solid after every single game.
I'm done with Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, exactly. It's stop it.
You know what I have to say to that?
Well, of course.
Kojima. I almost said Vegeta.
Vegeta.
I almost said Vegeta.
Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that again. That was terrible.
I'm sorry.
That wasn't even funny.
It was kind of.
It wasn't funny.
I found it pretty funny.
No, it wasn't. Anyway, let's go to the next story.
Okay, next story. We're going to sidetrack back into Microsoft just a little bit. Microsoft, according to a report, Microsoft says that the publishers will take a cut of sales on used Xbox One games. Now, I don't know whether this will include the digital distribution of used games,
How would you distribute used digital games?
You just give up your license on the cloud or your file on the cloud. And
okay.
Think of it as like a Steam marketplace for used games.
Okay, I can see that. I don't
know how that will work, but it's an interesting.
I don't think they'll do it. But anyway, go on.
But let's stick with the fact that you go to a GameStop or another store
you go to a GameStop or GameStop. Well, because there's really no other store that you can buy used games at.
In America, there isn't. In the other countries there are, but I don't know them off the top of my head. So let's break this down from a marketing standpoint. Let's say you sell a used game for $30. How much does GameStop get out of that?
So wait, you're saying I take my game in, they give me $30.
Game in. You go into a GameStop. You buy a used game. So you buy a used game. It costs $30.
It depends what they bought it back for. Let's say they bought that game
on sales of used games, not trade-ins of used games.
So let's say that they bought. Let's take an actual game title here. Let's say Injustice.
Yes.
Let's take Injustice.
Because I just recently traded in my copy of Injustice for Remember Me, which we'll review in a few minutes.
How much did you get for that? Do you remember?
It was $25.
$25 you got back.
Yes.
So now if they resell that for $45, they get a $20 profit. It's pretty basic.
Pretty basic, yeah.
Now the problem becomes with that is when they're holding on to those games for however long. Let's say they have a game that they buy it back for $25 and they don't resell a lot of them for whatever reason. Maybe it's because the online experience has been compromised by the lack of being able to use it. You have to do the whole Project $5 thing.
Right.
And so now you have that going. So basically, it just sits around and they eventually resell it for the $25 they bought it for, they get no profit off of that.
Right.
So
they have to up the price. They sell it for $40.
I keep hitting this microphone. I got to get used to this. We just recently switched to a 2-microphone set, and I'm not used to having a microphone right next to my face.
Why do they have mine like in front of me and a little forward?
Well, you're also a lot louder than me, so I need to be a little bit closer.
This is true. This is very true. But go on.
But anyway, so what exactly? Why'd you ask me that exactly?
Well, because the fact that let's see now, they're gonna have how are they gonna cut it up? They should have the breakdown here. They don't have the. Okay,
we did good research.
We did good research. I had so many stories I had to research.
We had like a stack of like 20 stories. We actually had to trim it down.
We had to filter it to fit into a 2-hour bracket.
We didn't think that there was going to be this many stories this week because E3 is around the corner. We thought they were going to be a lot of these things were going to be waiting.
E3 is going to be hell. We're going to have so many stories on E3.
Yeah, but I really honestly one of the reasons why this week we seemed so out of whack is because we weren't expecting this many stories.
Exactly.
And they all showed up on like the same day.
More or less, yeah.
That was kind of rough.
Right. Like Major Nelson, who a lot of people know, who works for, it's Larry Hurd from Microsoft. He stated in regards to the trade and resale of used games, the ability to trade in and resell games is important to gamers and to Xbox. Xbox One is designed to support the trade in and resale games. Reports about our policies for trade and resale are inaccurate and incomplete. We will disclose more information in the future, which I told earlier, which is they're not going to be any charging fees. They're going to allow it. The question is now, how does it break down? Now, I'm no marketing expert. Far from it. But let's say, okay, you have this $20 profit of the game.
Yeah.
Let's say let's say you have Microsoft doesn't take a cut. Microsoft has already stated in their article earlier that they're not going to take a cut of it. So you're talking about, say, a 50-50 split between GameStop and the publisher.
It's going to really
just Xbox One, huh?
That's really going to hurt GameStop.
That is going to hurt GameStop, but then you think about the volume of used games they sell from all the various consoles and systems and such. That in the long run, not really.
I can only hope that this amount of hurt, like where they cut their budget a little bit for their lack of profit, I can only hope that it comes straight from their sticker budget, because I'm sick of having to peel off so many stickers.
Yes.
Like, I can only hope that's the budget that they cut. But it won't be. They'll get rid of employees. That's what will happen.
Go completely digital.
Yeah. Go digital. Yeah.
Go digital. Like,
you just walk in. There's nobody in the store. It's like, oh.
So there's no one to watch me to make sure I don't steal the. Like, no, we have Ed 209 guarding our games.
Present hall pass. Present online pass. Second request. Present online pass.
Oh gosh. Yes.
Ed 209.
Ed 209.
That's a great reference, actually. I like that, Brian. That's a good one.
Thank you. Top of the head.
I haven't heard a good RoboCop reference in a couple of years.
Well, I just watched Star Trek Into Darkness again, and every time I see one of the main villains on there, I just he plays an admiral on there. I forget the character's name, so I just constantly call him Admiral RoboCop.
Admiral RoboCop.
That would be a.
Have you seen? I mean, I know that we've kind of deviated from our video game topic for today several times, but have you seen the pictures of the new RoboCop outfit?
Yes, I have.
I'm not liking it.
He looks like a cybernetic ninja.
He looks kind of like Batman.
That too.
Looks a little bit like the Nolan Batman verse.
Well, we'll have to see how it is in context.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know, but it doesn't. I'm not liking the look.
And you know what? I've all throughout this episode, I've done so many stupid things.
Yes, he's pretty much done dumb things.
I've done nothing but dumb things.
But there's according to a Chinese health study, there's a reason for that, why you do stupid things, Brian.
What is that?
And that reason is that video games are making children dumber. Not saying you're a child, you're a grown person, but
mentally not so sure.
You played video games for a while.
Yes, I have.
And according to this, the rise of stupid children is due to video game play. This was done from the CASS, I guess I'll just call it the CAS of Wuhan, which is
Are they government
a research facility, specifically done by Dong Shi. I don't trust anybody with the name Dong, personally. But according to this study, children don't come into contact with death, and subject is fairly taboo. So basically, that's one thing that people think that, according to this study, kids are stupid and don't understand that they can die. They believe that they can be revived. Actually, that's actually one of the quotes. They might actually think they can be revived, according to Dong. And, basically saying that all this exposure to virtual non-reality creates exactly that, a non-reality for people. It makes people feel like, it makes children not understand the consequences of real life. But I don't think that that's true in the slightest.
I don't think so. In fact, I think the exact opposite. I think video games are making kids smarter. It's
definitely, I think kids who short of Brian over here, I think kids who play video games while they're younger learn how to multitask a lot better than most people, and also it increases the sharpness of your brain. It allows you
makes you a quick thinker.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you a very, very fast thinker.
Unlike me.
Yeah, Brian is the exception.
I'm probably the proof of the study.
Brian, they might have actually been studying Brian.
I've just been completely oblivious to that fact.
Yeah, I mean, I did, this study kind of irritated me when I read it. I was the one who pointed it out to Brian.
He was.
I read. I mean, it's been about 2 weeks since I read it, or a week since I read it. This was one of the first ones that I found, but it was definitely. I was looking at it, and I was like, really, this is that they're blaming, countries, whether it be China, United States, doesn't matter who it is. They're looking for excuses to blame video games again on things. I mean, we saw this round, we saw the first round of this back when the violence is caused by video games era, because a game like Mortal Kombat definitely caused things like Columbine.
No,
no, they definitely did. It was definitely because the ability to be a ninja that rips someone's head from their shoulders, that makes you want to shoot people.
No, it doesn't.
Not, it has nothing to do with just general violence in culture, and it has nothing to do with that. But basically, this is round probably 3 or 4 at this point. But I'm going to say round 2 for the sake of it. This is round 2 of this, where they're trying to blame the world's problems
on
video games because it's an easy target.
There was actually a video I saw a while back. I don't have the link on me at all, but it was on Kotaku, I think. And it was a video of this, I want to say a child psychologist or something, someone who wrote a book.
Ah, yes, wrote a book.
She broke it down and saying that violence is not caused by video games. It's caused by lack of interaction, mental health, the environment they grew up in.
Yes, definitely. Actually, one of the main problems with this whole thing is that there is definitely a taboo. The taboo, I can't see it. I realize that we're on radio, but I'm doing the finger quotations.
Air quotes.
The air quotes. The taboo is not that, we can't talk to people about how, these deaths in these games are not a real thing, or, any of that stuff. The taboo is that a lot of people, especially in the United States, I don't know about overseas, I can't, I'm sure
we can't justify it.
At least within the continental United States, we will say this. People don't get the mental health help that they need. There's a lot of people who could benefit from things that are deemed evil and deemed like the devil's work and stuff like that. Like, you can't go to a therapist, this, that, and the other thing, And that's one of the problems. And then a lot of times what ends up happening is these governments, whether it be United States in the 90s and early 2000s, or now obviously China, try to deem these problems caused by video gaming, which it's completely unjustifiable. I mean, to say that video games are making kids stupid is just that. It's stupid. And,
very stupid.
Normally I'm a little bit more upbeat about a story, and you could probably tell I've kind of gone, my demeanor's kind of gone down with this one.
You've gone mellow.
And it's just maybe this is the way I look at it. Countries have to stop doing this and look at themselves and be like, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong to fail kids that these things that we are coming up with these reasonings? Because there's a lot. First of all, one of the things that I like to think, look at is kids. A lot of kids hate reading. I mean, the numbers have declined over the years, except for comic books and like manga and stuff. But that's
and like several novels. Like I know a bunch of people who like to.
But I mean, the numbers have overall tapered off of people who like to read, and in favor for TV and movies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times have you heard? Why am I gonna? I mean, I say it. Why am I gonna read a book when there's gonna be a movie in a couple of years and I can just watch it then? You can't do that with video games. You have to read the stuff.
Right.
You have to read what's going on. So it actually does engage your brain. It engages your brain in a way that like a lot of other medias don't. They don't make you read on the TV stuff. They don't make you read movies.
Yeah, like
unless you're watching something with subtitles.
Well, that's what I do. Like whenever I play a game, like when I watch a movie, I don't turn subtitles on. When I play a game, I turn the subtitles on.
Exactly. And
but
it's engaging your brain. You are reading. You're actually using your ability to read, which a lot of kids don't do anymore. A lot of kids don't like reading. I don't like reading. I'm a really high level graduate from college, and I hate reading. I've heard of doctors who said they didn't read their textbooks. I don't like that. I don't like hearing that. But here's the thing. Like if you're being forced to do these things, isn't that right in and of itself? That's actually making you smarter. Especially if it's like, trying to think of like a game like Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid makes you think.
Makes you think. Not only that, like they use big words.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of words.
There's a lot of $5 words.
There's a lot of $5, $50, $500 words in there. And you're like, what the hell does that mean? And it prompts you to go figure out what the hell the word means.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things, it upsets me that there was a health study that determined that video games make kids dumb. I don't think that's the case.
No, it doesn't. If anything, it makes kids smarter, more reactive.
Yeah, your reaction time goes up for sure.
Yeah, especially if, like, all you're playing is first-person shooters. You're like, oh, crap, that guy over there is shooting at me. Pop, pop, dead.
Yeah.
Is it making kids violent? No. In fact, I think it's curbing violence. Because, like, let's say you have violent tendencies in you. You play a video game, those tendencies gone. Because I see video games as a stress reliever. Like, if I had a stressful day at work or just had, like, a really bad day, I'll sit down, I'll put on, like, Mass Effect or like an RTS game and just be like, you know what? I'm going to start killing some dudes. Not in real life. In a digital world where I know they're safe. And I'm just like, I feel better now.
Yeah, definitely. And, like I said, especially the best, like, I can only really speak for the United States. I can't speak for China here. But this study applies to the world. This study does not just apply to China. But let's take this in context of the United States. If the United States has to blame a type of entertainment media on dumbing down their kids, they really need to reevaluate everything. It needs to go down to the
There's
core.
no media that dumbs down their kids.
Oh no, I mean there are certain medias that can dumb down a kid. There are certain things that can placate into a lesser portion of your brain. But that's not. What I'm saying is that's an overall problem that needs to be addressed by the entire populace. Look at it. What are we doing wrong as a society where these kids are not getting the stimulation they need? And it comes down to schools.
Yeah.
It comes down to schools not doing their job.
I mean, there's
individual teachers who are great at their job.
Right.
But the public school system generally fails a lot of kids.
Right. I hate to turn this show into like a political debate show.
Well, you brought me on. Yeah, I'm a co-host and I'm a political science guy. It's gonna go that way.
It's gonna go that way. But this article just like when you sent me the article, I read it and I was just like, we're gonna get down this road because it brings up one of the biggest issues in the world in the video game world, which is the correlation between violence in real life and violence in games.
And also intelligence in real life and video games.
Yeah, like now. I enjoy philosophy, but do you know how hard it is for me to understand philosophy as it was written by, like, Plato or Aristotle or something like that?
A lot of people don't understand that stuff.
But, however, when you take those same philosophies and implement them in, like, video games or movies, I understand it a whole lot better because now I have an example of like, oh, I get what they're saying now because I can relate it to such and such.
Exactly. I mean, one of the things that I hated about this article was that there was no scientific analysis in it. It was just basically huge, looping,
sweeping
accusations where they didn't really. There was no like hardcore facts. They weren't like, after a 15-year study, the IQ of kids who play video games with regularity was lower. There wasn't anything like that in it, and it really upset me that people just have this there's just this hatred for video games. It really has never stopped. It's just continued for years, and it's even eventually that's not gonna happen because our generation, when we're the
rulers of running this country,
we're the 40-somethings, 50-somethings in 20, 30 years.
We'll probably be saying the same thing about the next form of media.
I don't know. I think that actually we might be a little bit more tolerant towards it because it's now that we have been exposed to technological changes at such a fast rate that I can see us being more tolerant than the last generation. The footloose generation, if you will. Dancing is the devil.
Dancing is the devil.
Kevin
Bacon will not dance.
Kevin Bacon's not allowed to dance, and also Jewish people aren't allowed to eat him. Bacon.
I see what you did there.
That was a bad joke.
That was a really bad joke.
I did it on purpose.
Wait, what?
I did it on purpose.
They're like, I see what you did there.
But anyway,
I think that's about it. That all we got to cover today.
We have
someone on our comment board goes, what?
Exactly.
I think even they are confused about that joke. That joke was very confusing. I was like, wait, what?
That was a purposely bad joke.
That was a very bad.
I did that for some of the audience out there who likes my bad jokes.
Never say that joke again.
I won't.
That's like I don't know what to. That's like watching The Room.
Oh, speaking of The Room.
We actually have a destination. We have to
go. Just let me get myself together here. But we're going to go to Russ's Retro Room, and I'm going to be reviewing a game of the past. I'm going to be reviewing.
We have to review a game that came out today.
Yeah.
Well, that came out this week.
Yes.
So you know what? Let's pack up our stuff and let's
walk over to my room. Hello and welcome to Russ's Retro Room, where I talk about...
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
Not that room. That's the wrong room. That's of course a line from the movie The Room, quite possibly the worst movie of all time. I suggest going to see it. Going out there and seeing it.
It's literally one of those movies where it's so bad you have to see it. And if you don't want to watch the movie, go on now this is a free plug. Go on thatguywiththeglasses.com and watch the Nostalgia Critics review of The Room. You will laugh your ass off at that review.
But yes, definitely. But
we did both.
Today in Russ's Retro Room, we're going to look at Xenogears. Yes, Xenogears. Now this was an RPG from the 90s, PlayStation 1. Mm-hmm. It was basically. How would I put this? It was very religious in the way it was. It was Square. It was made by Square, and of course Square is
before they started releasing Final Fantasy after Final Fantasy after.
No, this was actually during the era of the Final Fantasy games. It was around. It wasn't that far off of when Final Fantasy 6 and 7 were out.
Oh, okay.
It was actually right in that era. But back then.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, as everyone knows, Square has no love for organized religion for some reason. So there's a distinct anti-Christianity portion of the game. which does offend some people, but if you can disconnect from that, it's really it's fun. It actually does create some plot points that are very useful. It's a mech genre game, RPG.
Ooh, I love mech games.
Gears are in the game. The Xeno gears, what the gear portion of it refers to, are the mechs that are inside of that you can pilot. At certain points, you're on the ground, and you run around as your character, and other points you are in the mech, and you have battles that way. So actually, at some points, there's battles that are both characters in mech and out of mech, which is that's kind of cool. Now, basically, this is one of the most detailed, in-depth games I ever played. It's so detail-oriented that there's
in terms of graphics or just the lore?
Storyline, like the actual lore of the game is so in-depth that they were planning on doing 5 prequels to this game, but lost the licensing went out the window. And they actually, if you've heard of Xenosaga.
Yes, I have.
Xenosaga is a spiritual prequel that is pseudo-connected to it. It's not 100% connected to it, however.
I'll have to find it.
Yeah, Xenosaga is really good. Not as good as Xenogears, but Xenogears was plagued by a very unique issue, however. Halfway through it was supposed to be it was a multi-disc game, as most RPGs were back then.
Mm-hmm.
The first disc is godly. It is amazing. Every little detail, everything is so great. The twists, the turns, everything is near perfect. Then they hit an issue at disc 2. And that issue was the budget was pulled. And they were forced to basically rush the end of this. It was supposed to be a 3-disc game. It ended up being 2 discs. The second disc has barely anything on it. It's like, I don't want to give away too much because I still suggest playing it. Yeah, but basically it was rushed, and a lot of the things that were supposed to be available to you weren't even possible. So the first disc ends up being like, I'll give my review right now. Actually, the first disc is a 5 out of 5 for RPGs. The second disc, however, is like a 2 out of 5.
It derailed that bad?
It does derail horribly. So I would have to give it, if I average those 2 out, it becomes not quite a 4. I'm going to do a 3.5.
Okay.
A 3.5 out of 5. It's just above average because of that, but the first disc is amazing. And it's really deep and philosophical. There's a lot of little things that you would not expect to happen. I don't want to give away too much, but it was actually one of my favorite games when I was younger. I still occasionally will pop it in, but I always get this sinking pit of my stomach feeling when
you're about to reach
disc 2, and it really does not sit well. But for someone who's playing it for the first time, the disc 2 drop off won't be as bad. So you will play the first disc, and then the second disc you'll notice that it's going a little bit badly, but it won't affect you as much because you haven't seen it yet. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying.
And it's definitely worth checking out if you can find it. It's kind of a rare game nowadays.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing with a lot of PS1 games, because the trade-in retailers don't even sell that generation anymore. So you gotta go online and find it on eBay, Amazon.
That's actually where I found my copy, was eBay years ago.
Or some of these other websites that sell vintage retro games.
Exactly. Now here's one of the things. It does have the stereotypical Squaresoft, Square Enix, amnesiac protagonist. So if that's something that annoys you...
You know what I forgot to find? You made me just remember that. I was supposed to find, before we aired today, a clip of... I've come down with a case of explosive amnesia.
Oh, yes, Futurama reference. Don't remind me, Futurama's getting canceled again. Again, for the second time. But back to what I was saying, though. It does have the amnesiac protagonist, so if that kind of annoys you, deal with it, I guess. It's but definitely the first disc 5 out of 5, second disc 2 out of 5, overall 3.5 out of 5. It's a game worth checking out. It's got a lot, even though the second disc was rushed, it's still a lot of hours. And if you're really into deep philosophical kind of games, this is the game for you. And also, there's the web of connections for characters. Somebody did it online, actually. It was a character web where there was arrows pointing from which character and what the connection was. It's so ridiculously complex that you actually kind of get lost in it.
You're like, where was I? Yeah. I lost track of where I was going.
Exactly.
Darn it, I forgot.
Yes,
damn you, Amnesia.
That is my game of the week.
That is your game of the week.
To check out if you.
And then the new one. Speaking of Amnesia, the newest game that came out this past week, we both played. I played
more. You played more than me because you didn't get me the copy in time.
Well, my bad. Was Remember Me. Now, Remember Me, you play as this girl in 2089 Neo Paris named Millen. And in this world, almost every single human on the planet is equipped with this item called, this is not spoilers, this is just basic exposition, is equipped with an item called a Sensen, which allows you to access yours and anyone else's memory. Mm-hmm. And Millen plays a memory hacker, who is someone who can hack into your memories and either steal them or rewrite them, which is one of the most fun mechanics in that game.
It was the whole point of the game.
It was the whole point of the game, but I'll get into the pros and cons in a minute. And the story is pretty much, Millen was captured at the beginning of the game, and her memories were more or less completely wiped. And the overall goal of the game is to retrieve those memories and overthrow the government, because the government is evil, or this corporation is evil, and the corporation is trying to take over the world. I hit the wrong button.
Of course!
I'm going to get better at this, I swear to God.
You're the worst soundboard guy I've ever met. Didn't you go to school for this stuff?
Yes.
This is what you get for being a C student at a community college, ladies and gentlemen.
They aren't supposed to know. But the game is, like, overall, the story of the game it's pretty generic.
Yeah, that was one of my complaints.
It's a pretty generic storyline. If, like, I kind of called it forgettable storyline.
Forget it. I see what you get.
Yeah, there. It's like, it's a storyline you just don't want to remember.
That was such a fourth class.
Yeah.
You don't want to remember it, yeah. But one of my complaints was actually the lack of, and like I had read this before I even played it, but when I played it, the lack of, like, the cityscape is really nice.
Yeah, it's great scenery porn.
But you don't really interact with it at all.
No, it's just, it's a very linear game.
It's very linear, which I have no problem with linear, but it's got the nicest corridors I've ever seen in a game. And the story is a bit generic. It's still it's what I would say about the game is it's good, not great.
Yeah, it is a good, not great. Like, I'm going to list off my pros and cons right now. The pros was the amazing level of detail in the environments and character models.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
The combat. Bleh, I'm spoiling over my words.
We've been going for a while.
We have. The combat system is very easy to understand. Pretty much, if you played Batman Arkham anything.
Well, there's only 2 Arkham games.
Like I said, Arkham anything.
Yeah.
It's that style of combat.
It's very similar, yeah.
It's very fun to mix and match the combo effects for the best results in terms of, like, healing, damage, and charging your various special abilities. But you're very limited in the type. Like, you can't just say, okay, I want a 2-hit combo to charge this up, or a 3-hit. No, you're stuck with 3, 4, 5, 6, and I think it goes all the way up to 7 or something.
7 or 8, I don't remember.
7 or 8,
I haven't gotten that far yet, so I don't really know.
But, like, it's pretty much like, okay, this is how the combo works out. You just choose the effects that happen during this combo. And I'm like, all right.
It kind of downplays, like, it had somewhat of an RPG element to it in such a way, but at the same time, it was like, it kind of took that away. You know, like the whole, like, upgradables.
And like I said earlier, the ability to rewrite someone's memories of a situation are extremely fun. But at the same time, when I did it the first time, it made me wonder the repercussions that would occur because of rewriting someone's memory. And I don't want to go into spoilers because the first one I did, while fun as it was, afterwards I was like, wait, I just rewrote this person's memory of this entire event. They perceive it totally different than everyone else involved. What the hell happened?
No, it's one of those things that you're just not supposed to really think about, I think.
But I did.
Stop thinking about it.
Too late. And that's pretty much all I have in terms of the pros. The cons, like I said, the story isn't that great. It's a pretty generic, one-directional storyline. But then again, I kind of expect this from Capcom. They're not known for their really deep, thought-provoking storylines.
Yeah, that is true.
Capcom is just like, we are an action-oriented company. We make fun gameplay.
Yeah, Capcom they don't really try to like create an overarching, storyline that's going to make you talk about it for years. That's
yeah, they kind of make
their MO.
Yeah. Another thing, I don't know if you encountered this, but I encountered it so bad. The controls are horrendously sluggish.
I didn't really have that issue. I think because I've played so many action-adventure games, I'm just kind of used to the learning curve at this point.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I don't play that many action-adventure or platformer games, but for me, the controls felt very sluggish.
Yeah, that's actually a thing with me is, and me and Dave actually talked about this, the platforming seemed almost pointless because they pretty much just tell you what to do.
Yeah.
And it made the platforming feel like
the game was holding your hand almost the entire way.
Yeah, it did make me feel like I was kind of being like, led down, like, the easy route. And I don't like that. I like to kind of think a little bit.
But yeah, like that's and the memory rewritings, there's so many few and they are so far between each other that
that's like the whole point of the game is almost that you work with like memories and stuff, but it's like you don't get to do it that often.
Yeah. So if I were to give this game a 1 out of 5 rating, I'd give it like, now this is a really low number. Like, I'm not saying like a 1 or a 2. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5, but it's like a low 3.
I actually agree with you, not with the low portion, but a 3 out of 5. I think it's just really an average game.
Yeah.
It's fun for the time you play it, but it's not something you're going to go back to over and over again. And that, like, in my opinion, a 3 out of a 5 scale is a game that it's enjoyable when you play it. But there's the replay ability.
There's no replayability. It's not like something like like a Devil May Cry, which has a lot of replayability, but because the action in it,
Arkham City is very replayable.
Yes, it is.
Arkham City is very replayable.
Arkham
City was a 5.
Yeah. But that in terms of review, like you gave it a 3, I gave it a 3, so pretty much it's a 3 out of 5 game.
Because we are like the greatest, authorities on deciding what the numbers are.
We are.
We
totally are.
We get like people that don't ever call in or email us or start contacting us, people.
Yes.
We know you're out there. We have the numbers.
We have the numbers. We know you're listening. We want you to join in our conversations. We want you to join in on our debates. We love the interactivity we have with our listeners.
We're actually considering, because we do realize that there is a difficulty for people to listen to us at this time.
Right.
At this time slot. So we are looking to move to a Saturday time slot when that's available. We're going to do like a kind of a tester with our
E3 special I mentioned earlier in the episode is going to be that test bed. We're going to see the ratings from that, and also it's a great time. We're going to do it at, like I said, 8:30 p.m. in Eastern Standard Time block. So for those of you in other time blocks, figure it out. I'm not going to figure it out for you.
I can do that, actually. It's just you subtract an hour as you go across.
It's 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Central.
Mountain would be 6:30.
Mountain and Pacific would be 6:30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're going to try for that time slot on next Saturday. Also, be on the lookout for we have 2 more reviews to do this month. The big one I'm excited for is Last of Us.
Yeah, I definitely am looking into
Last of Us, that comes out next week. We'll be doing that on our regular episode 2 weeks from now. And I think around that same time Deadpool comes out. I'll be doing a one single person review for Deadpool.
I was actually thinking I might go and grab this just because I'm such a Resident Evil guy. I might go and grab the console edition of Resident Evil Revelations. So you might be able to throw that in there. That might come a couple of weeks.
You know what? Before we go, we actually got someone calling in. Actually, Dave is calling in.
Oh, Dave. Oh, good.
Hey, what's going on, Dave?
Hi, guys. I heard you talking about Remember Me, and I wanted to talk about it because it was a game that I was pretty excited for.
Give us your opinion.
All right, sure. Go ahead.
Well, the thing about Remember Me is it's like Ghost in the Shell meets Inception, right? And I love Ghost in the Shell, and I love Inception, and so what could be better than the two of them together, right? And so while I was playing this game, it's like they create this just amazing setting that it's so cool, and sort of the whole like world building and the level design and the character design, and it's really interesting. It feels really like cool and futuristic and cyberpunk and sci-fi, and It really feels like
all the greatest.
Inception versus Inception meets Ghost in the Shell, like I was saying earlier. But every other aspect of the game is just it's average or worse. Like the combat is actually really simplistic. I would call it just okay at best. The combo system is not super duper. Like, it's not even really that useful because later in the game, I don't know, did you guys actually both beat the game or not?
I have yet to beat the game.
I got close to beating the game. I got to like the 5 or 6 hour mark because I remember hearing the game is like an 8 to 10 hour game.
Yeah, I beat the game in about 9 hours, and towards the end of the game, it really devolves into spamming your special abilities that I don't remember the name of. You know the one I'm talking about. Like, there's the one where, and they're pretty cool. It's like there's one where you get like an unlimited, like you just combo between everything, like exactly like in Batman Arkham City, where every time you hit someone, it's like it just adds to your combo multiplier. And then there's another one where like you put a bomb on someone and it explodes. There's another one where you turn invisible and you can instantly knock someone out. But at the end of the game, the combat just devolves into you spamming those abilities over and over again.
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I can see why that would happen.
So that makes the combat less fun. So the combat's not good. The voice acting for the main character is pretty good, and for Edge it's pretty good. But for most other characters, it's actually kind of awful. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, the voice acting.
We actually didn't talk about the voice acting at all.
A lot of the voice acting is actually terrible.
Well,
generally what happens with any game is that the voice acting for the main characters is good, and then all the extras are just pretty god-awful.
Yeah, and then again, we are talking about Capcom, and Capcom is a company known in terms of their voice acting department to kind of pinch pennies.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, that's fine and everything, but also it's like, the fact remains that there's a lot of terrible voice acting.
Now, did you get the game on a console or a PC?
No, I get everything on PC.
You got your game on PC. Okay, I got it on console. So the graphics on the PC version are probably much better than they are on the console. And I was looking at. Say that again?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, like I was saying, like when I was playing the game, like I said earlier, the scenery porn is great. It is great scenery porn.
Everyone loves porn.
Oh yeah, for sure. The skyboxes and stuff, like the backgrounds of the levels are beautiful, and actually a lot of the levels are beautiful too. Just like moving through them, it's and that's sort of what I was talking about with their, I guess you could call it like world building kind of aspect of the game. That was something where they really knocked it out of the park. I really wouldn't want it to, every level was interesting. I would be in the next level, even if like you would get into an area and you would clearly be like, okay, this is an arena, like I'm going to have to fight a bunch of enemies who are going to come out of nowhere.
Tell when I was about to enter combat.
Like the actual level design in terms of like, I don't know, the originality, I guess, it's nothing special, but it's always presented in a really cool way.
Yeah.
If you had to give an overall score to the game, what would you give it out of a 1 to 5 scale?
I definitely think you guys are right in the game is a 3.
Okay,
but
that's
I was kind of disappointed. I feel like the game was like it's all style and no substance, right? It's like it's this really cool aesthetic that I'm really into, and like I said, all the levels are really interested, and everything is presented really well to you. But it's like when you get right down to it, it's a pretty below average, like as far as like a third person fighting game, like an action platformer, like. The fighting is a lot worse than even something like Arkham Asylum, because in Arkham Asylum you didn't just have that combo-based fighting system. You also had all the gadgets and stuff, and there's nothing like that in Remember Me. You don't ever have any options of how you want to fight someone. It's just
it's pretty much just straightforward.
And like the timing-based, like I figured out the timing-based combos in like the first 5 minutes of the game. Is like, but. Like, the timing between them is so long, and the controls I felt to be so sluggish that, was, like, I had so much trouble. And I was not playing the game on easy.
Yeah. See, I don't think... Go on, Dave. I wouldn't... I mean, I didn't have any problems with controls. I wouldn't call them sluggish. But I wouldn't even call it, like, timing-based. As long as you aren't button mashing, you can do exactly what you want to do with the combos. And you don't really need, like, a rhythm. Like, it'll tell you to... press the button, when you hit your enemy to keep doing your combo or whatever. But I literally, and I played on the hardest difficulty, I never once had an issue with doing exactly the combo that I wanted to do to someone. Like, there's really no timing element. It's just pressing the buttons in the correct order according to the combos that you set up in your combo list.
Yeah, exactly, and that was one of my issues that I stated earlier, that it did feel like I was having my hand held, and I don't like when that happens.
No, I don't like I like having my hand held a little bit.
Your head?
Hand.
Okay.
Not my head. I mean, I do like having my head held as well, but that's another story altogether.
But thank you for calling in, Dave.
Thanks for calling in, Dave.
Yeah.
I
had to express my disappointment because I thought I was going to love this game.
Yeah, but then again, you have to remember, you have Last of Us next week.
Yeah, which is looking real good. Hopefully that works out.
That's only on PS3 though, right?
Yes,
I don't know. I might not even buy that. I'm not sure.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what's going on. We'll have a review for that.
We'll have a review for that on our next.
And if you do end up playing it, we'd like to hear your opinion on that as well.
And everyone's opinion.
Everyone's opinion.
Everyone give an opinion.
We look forward to your next call, Dave.
All right, take care, Dave.
See you guys.
Hit the button properly.
See, that's a prime example of like when someone calls in, we don't tear your head off.
No, we listen.
And we know Dave. Dave's a friend of ours,
yes.
So but we're basically going to react the same way to anybody. We're going to give you the floor for a little while. We'll interrupt you when we need to kind of break the flow of what you were saying. But for the most part, we'll let you say what you want to say.
Exactly. And you have 15. You have 4 ways to contact us. You have our Twitter at Game Nation Radio, our Facebook Game Nation Radio, our email gamenationradio@gmail.com, and the phone number. You can call directly chat room.
Yeah, the chat room. That's 5.
The chat room is 5.
You can even follow me on Twitter.
You have a Twitter now?
Yeah, I've always had a Twitter. I just recently decided to start using it though.
Ah.
I just followed people. I didn't really ever use it, but I'm at Dark Hour X, all one word.
Yeah,
Dark Hour X. You can find me there. You'll know it's me. I'll have a picture with me with a pink tie on, my pink tie.
Like in your Facebook picture?
Yeah,
that snazzy suit?
That suit is that's a $500 suit. I don't make fun. It's not just snazzy. Okay?
That is a sexy suit. But yeah, and then another way is actually like what Dave just did. Call directly into the station. If you have like I said, it's a toll-free number. You can call into the station via a cell phone, a house phone,
or Skype.
Or Skype if you have the credits for Skype at 347-327-9451. Call into the station. We love hearing from you guys. We know we have the listening base to warrant this. Just call in. We enjoy conversations.
You can even you can call in and tell us we suck. We don't care.
We don't care. We enjoy constructive criticism.
I just like being criticized.
Well, then again. Well, yeah, but like we pretty much covered everything we want to cover. Like I said, tune in next Saturday at 8:30 Eastern Time for our post E3 special. It's gonna be me, Russ.
We're trying to get a guest star. We're not sure at this point who it's going to be. We are talking to several different people.
We are talking to a couple.
We're trying to get we're seeing who's available for the time, but there will be at least one guest star here. At
least one. Who knows it'll be? Maybe we'll have 2.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. With our current setup, we might not have enough room for 2 people.
Probably.
But,
we'll figure it out.
We can figure it out.
We're problem solvers. We'll figure it out.
Yes. The problem solver.
And then, like I said, so that's our E3 special next week. We're going to have a ton of information on that. We're going to be covering every single conference that happened. The Microsoft conference, the Sony conference, the EA conference, the Ubisoft conference, all the big game reveals, the trailers, the news that's come out of there, Microsoft's Nintendo Direct, which I will be on Wednesday. I don't know which store I'll be going to because I know Nintendo's doing like demos of some of their games they're going to be releasing at various Best Buys in the state. I don't know which store I'm going to, but on Wednesday I'll be going to one of those stores and trying the demos out there.
What time are you going?
Probably in the afternoon.
Okay, because I should be available on Wednesday.
Yeah, like I'll let you know the time for when we decide to do that.
I didn't even know they were doing that, to be honest.
Yeah, I know one of the stores is in Islin, which is quite a drive. I want to try and get a
Islin is by me.
Yeah, well, for me it's a drive, so.
It's like a half hour.
Yeah, I want to try and get a bunch of friends together on a Wednesday, go to the Best Buy, try these demos out.
Yeah, the Islin Best Buy is pretty big, actually. If you wanted to go to that one, we could probably get into that one.
Probably, yeah. Like, and I don't know, and they'll be doing that all during E3, which is an interesting tactic by Nintendo, but we'll save that for next week.
Yeah, we
have
are
that special planned out.
We're trying not to talk too much about E3 right now.
Yeah, we don't want to do any pre-E3 predictions because everyone is doing E3 predictions. You can find those predictions anywhere. But we got that going on. Then the week after that, we're going to have our regular episode. Regular episode, we'll review The Last of Us. If Deadpool comes out during that time, we'll review Deadpool.
I may have Resident Evil Revelations.
Revelations
I mean, I played it for the 3DS. I want to see how it stacks up on the console.
Yeah, do a comparison review.
Yeah, comparison.
And also a top 5 that week.
Yeah, we'll have a top 5. Yeah,
we'll have a top 5.
We don't know what it's going to be yet, but we'll come up with something.
We'll have something that
we usually make those up last minute.
Probably. It'll probably be something E3 related.
Honestly, if anybody wants to email us something they want us to review, an idea for my retro room, an idea for a top 5, these are things that would be best done through email.
A question you want to ask.
Email or Twitter. These are the best things that would be done through there.
A question to ask. Anything like that. A question, a suggestion, an opinion. You can. And I want to just announce right now, we are working on our website. Our own website is currently under development. We're not open just yet for business, but we are working on our own website. We'll let you guys know on here through the Facebook, through the Twitter, through the emails. However we reach you guys, we'll let you know when the email is up. And if anything else goes on between now and then, we'll let you guys know because we love you guys. It's because of you that we do this.
Well, that and the whole, you have a gun to my head.
I don't have a gun to your head, okay? It's a slingshot. I have a slingshot to your head, not a gun.
Okay.
Get it right.
Slingshot.
But we thank you guys for joining us this week. We'll see you guys next week for the special. Hope to hear you guys. And also, during the special, we'll be accepting your calls and emails and all that stuff as well. If you want to give your opinions on what happened during E3, go right ahead. This is a test bed for us to see if our Saturday idea carries any water or weight or whatever.
Water weight. If it carries water weight.
Carries water weight. We'll see you both. See you both.
All 2 of you. All 2 of our listeners.
No, we got more than 2 listeners. I'm sure. We got a couple hundred listeners now. We'll see you guys in next week. All right. Take care.
See you later.